What's up, YouTube? This is Nick from Maven and Handmade, and today we're going to look at Chicago House, classic house. I figured since it's August 8th, it's officially 808 day, we should look at one of the original genres of electronic music. And I'm going to run you through a little bass patch that I've made, paying tribute to the era. And I've got an 808 drum sample here, a little kick sample that we're going to play with. I'll show you a few techniques for making, your basses get that sort of classic house sound, and how to sort of mix it with the drum, with the kick drum, so that they're not fighting each other and they still sound nice and big and fat. So let's walk you through this patch real quick. That's what it sounds like. I've got the octave tuned down 1 octave, square wave, and the thing to remember is to turn the pulse width up to 100%. That's very important. On the filter, we have the frequency set to 150. That seems pretty low, but the thing to remember here on the filter section is we're turning the envelope amount up. See, if I turn it down to 0, because that frequency is so low, you're not really getting anything. But when we affect the filter with the envelope, I like to have it at around 6.5, we get that resi attack that you hear in so many classic house tunes. Over on the amp, pretty simple, short attack, longer decay. I might macro this, the decay. You can get some interesting sounds playing around with that. And the release time. Also, you can get some interesting things from playing with the release time. And the other thing, the last thing to remember is on the volume section, you want to turn the voicing down to mono. So, I'm going to play you, I've got another instrument rack over here. I'm going to play you this little riff I've created. Let's move this MIDI clip to this one. So one of the things I like to do when I'm working with these kind of bass patches is to assign macros. With this kind of music, it's all about developing the sound while you're developing the music. So let's take the resonance. The resonance usually sounds pretty cool. Map it to macro 1. Let's see what happens when we toy around with it. So that's sounding pretty cool, but the problem is it's getting very loud. And if I were to turn this resonance all the way up while playing the master volume, and this channel would probably go deep into the red. So how do we fix that? Let's play with our mapping. I've got the resonance mapped to macro 1. We're also going to map the volume to macro 1. What I'm going to do is invert the amount of the volume, so that when we turn the macro up, the volume actually gets turned down. I'm going to set this to about minus 13 dBs. So now, when we play with the resonance, it's getting a little louder, but it's not nearly as bad as it would be because the volume is taming the resonance as it builds up. Let's also take the decay. Let's map the decay and see how that sounds. Sounds pretty cool. It might be nice for a good build-up, if you're building up your bass line, to start turning up the decay as it's developing. And I also like to play with the release. Let's turn the decay down a little bit and play with the release a little bit. Not as noticeable, but still interesting. And then we have our kick drum. So right now they're sort of sitting in the same frequency range. We want them to sound a little better. So, the most obvious thing that I can think of to do that would be just simple sidechain. We take our compressor and sidechain our bass to the kick drum. because the kick is kind of staccato, we want to be careful about how we use our sidechain compressor. Getting the attack and release times are going to be important. And for that, I like to go to this view over here. And so that's ducking the bass a little bit. That's nice. And the other thing to think about in our amplifier section, if we go to my MIDI, you can see these MIDI notes are the velocities are changing. Some of these are greater velocities, and some have much lower velocities. And what I did is I took all these notes, the ones with the higher velocities, just moved them left a little bit, and it turned down the velocity. And in our amplifier section, we can apply the velocity amount to the envelope. So let's see what it sounds like now. So now it sort of sounds more bouncy. It's giving the kick room to breathe, and the velocity is making it a little more dynamic, which is definitely important in dance music. Let's just listen to the difference again. So there you go. There's a little technique for making your little Chicago house, classic house bass line with the classic 808. Happy 808 day, everyone. And tune in for more tutorials next week. For information on classes and events, visit mavenagency.com and stay posted. Thank you.